Good afternoon. This is Tony Cherniawski, manager of the Practical Investor LLC. Today is July the 9th, 2009, and the topic is a seasonal bottom for gold. This video is meant for instruction and entertainment purposes only. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell any security. A purchase or sale of a security may result in a loss of principal. Please consult with an expert advisor who may explain the risks of any investment you may consider. You cannot invest directly in an index. Well, hello, and I just wanted to visit with you again about that very precious metal called gold. What we're seeing now is something that's known as a seasonal variation that often happens in gold. Unfortunately, last year, what normally was the positive season, or should have been the positive season, was very, very negative. Gold went from a high all the way down to near 1,000, by the way, all the way down to 681 last October. And so generally speaking, this is an aberration. Normally what we see is something quite a bit more positive in the last several months of the year. So this cycle has been thrown off a little bit, and as a result of that, we saw another bottom in April of this year that resulted in a 2-month rally that was fairly profitable for people who recognized that and were able to find it. That's about the time that I came out with my own analysis about gold and called a surprise finding in gold back in April. One of the things that I want to say is that this analysis in no way invalidates that earlier one, because the earlier one has a much bigger picture in mind. So let's go to this right now, and we'll review the earlier picture and also what we're seeing now in that precious metal called gold. Well, first of all, the big picture is a descending, expanding triangle, also called a megaphone, a descending megaphone. That formation is very bullish on gold, by the way, and the fact that we caught some kind of support earlier in April made that assessment a valid one. However, two things that I want to point out. Number one is these megaphone formations do have a fairly high failure rate. They have an average of about a 37% failure rate. At the same time, and I did mention this in the prior video, by the way, at the same time, the rates of return on these formations are very, very substantial. So this is a pretty high risk investment, and I just want to point this out. This is not meant to be the totality of all of your money being invested by any means. Let's come to what's happening right now. You'll see the dotted line on the far right. That represents support. We had a rally which is not normal for that period of time between April and June. Usually between April and July, we normally see a negative, what's called a negative season. In fact, I looked up some articles that I had on gold, and I just want to comment on one commentator here. Just read from his article, which reads, "From May to late July, gold tends to grind sideways to lower. We certainly saw gold mirror these weak seasonal tendencies this year, as it has been fairly weak on balance since last April." Well, now this is not for 2009. This is for a prior year. While gold usually isn't all that exciting in the summer doldrums, this necessary consolidation leads up to the biggest seasonal gains in the year. So I just want to point out that this is a well-recognized phenomenon. Unfortunately, last year we had a peak in July and a horrible decline from there, so that what normally was supposed to be the positive season only had a very, very brief upturn in September of 2008, and then declined again into October and November and December. So last year was not the norm. Let me just point that out. These seasonal tendencies have a high degree of reliability, so let's talk about them now for what might happen this year. what I've done is I've gone back and analyzed some potential targets for gold. There's an Elliott wave target of about 875. That is a wave relationship target that is only meant as a guideline. It's not hard and fast, but the interesting thing about it is my proprietary model seems to agree with it. The model suggests that we might find a bottom in gold around 870. If that's the case, we'll have a fairly shallow decline and move on to higher highs later in the fall, starting possibly as early as August. However, I just want to point out there's a head and shoulders pattern here as well. This dotted line, which represents support, also looks an awful lot like a trend line, or rather a neckline for a head and shoulders pattern. That pattern suggests a target of about 835. And I just want to point out the trend line for this megaphone pattern isn't far below, currently at 825 right now, and going down a few points a day as it progresses. So I'm not here to tell you which of these models is going to work. What I am suggesting, though, is that we are going to see some type of seasonality by the looks of things over the next month at least, and but the potential for a reversion back to the positive seasonality starting as early as August, I believe, is fairly high. So that's something just to keep in mind as we go through this pattern and watch it. We need to watch it very thoroughly. Now, one of the things that I want to mention is that I have a daily newsletter that highlights gold, among other things, on a daily basis. This is a subscription service that I have. You can find out a little bit more about it by going to my website, www.thepracticalinvestor.com. And if you look on the far left-hand side, it says the company. If you scroll down on that, you'll see other services, as well as my Form ADV Part 2, which is a registration that is available to the public on the type of work that I do. You can contact me directly, if you wish, at tonyc@thepracticalinvestor.com. And I'll be glad to send you a little bit of information on how to subscribe. And one of the things that I need to say, by the way, is because I am a smaller investment advisor, I can't talk about returns or track records or anything like that. I'm letting these videos speak for themselves. So as the markets change over the days and weeks, I intend to keep on top of it, any significant changes with these YouTube videos, but the real meat of the topic is probably going to come from the subscription service for those of you that need a little bit more guidance on a day-to-day basis. So with that in mind, I hope you have a great summer, and by all means, please do the right thing and enjoy the rest of the summer season. So long now.